Hi, welcome to Bedtime Terror, the show where I watch a scary movie before bed and let you know how I think I'm going to sleep. My name is Bobby, and tonight's movie is actually a subscriber request. It is 1984's Night of the Comet. Let's get into it. So, Night of the Comet is about two sisters who are valley girls that survive a comet hitting Earth that turned people into dust instantly if they were outside. But if they weren't, then you eventually become exposed and turn into like half dead flesh eating zombies and then turn to dust. It's not a very thoroughly thought out plot. Anyways, the sisters pretty much it follows them surviving in Los Angeles post this comet that turned some people into like ravenous zombies. They have to survive these zombies and a mall gang, as well as some like military scientists that want to drain them of their blood and use it to make a serum to try to keep, the military personnel alive. This all sounds really interesting, right? It sounds like it'd be a really good, interesting, entertaining movie. It was not to me. Um, I went into this movie with low expectations. So that way I could at least try to, enjoy myself, find things redeemable about it, which I did find some things that I enjoyed. Um, but for the most part, it was not for me. This is the kind of movie that I would have liked when I was like in the third grade. Because it's colorful, it's kind of fun, it's centered around two teenage girls. It's very much like a preteen movie. I'm a grown adult, so I seeing that I'm not an 80s kid, I think that's something else too. Like, I'm not an 80s kid. If I was an 80s kid, I would still really like this movie because most likely of the nostalgia factor. But, I'm not an 80s kid. The plot was very convoluted, and it was boring at times. This movie is only an hour and a half long, but it could have shaved 15 minutes off. That's how boring it was. I actually fell asleep at one point for a few minutes, which I didn't miss anything of the plot. It's, there were definitely filler scenes and moments of useless dialogue or breaks in dialogue of silence that were unnecessary, that you could tell were just trying to pad this to make it hit that like 1 hour 30-minute mark. It it just wasn't for me. I'm trying to think of who this movie was before, because it does have a cult following. There are things that are likable about this movie, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed the aesthetics of it, the coloring, color saturation, the lighting that was used, and the camera angles. Very, very much, like vaporwave, synth pop type feel. They have really good music, 80s music in this movie, because a portion of the movie is set at a radio station. So there's some really good 80s music in there throughout the movie, especially through like 30 minutes of it at the radio station scene, if that's something that you're into. I really loved the color, like I said earlier, the color saturation of it, and how they managed to use, something like a blood orange sky to really send home that feel of a post-apocalyptic world. I loved how, this is supposed to be Los Angeles in the around the Christmas time season, and it's deserted. They did a great job at, clearing off the streets where you only see this one teenage girl and her sister on a motorcycle, like driving through downtown LA, or there's these skyscrapers and these cars are abandoned or just nowhere on the road. It's just them plus that blood orange, sky backdrop. A lot of those shots look like photo shoots. Just really compelling pictures and photographs and imagery that they were able to do on effectively on such a low budget, that I thought was really well. And I could honestly see and wouldn't be surprised if movies like 28 Days Later and their ghost town scene in the beginning with Jim leaving the hospital, I wouldn't have been surprised if that was inspired from Night of the Comet. So you could definitely see where some filmmakers and directors would have gotten some inspiration and paid homage to this movie. That said, I also really liked one thing before I forget. I also really liked and really enjoyed seeing Kelly Maroney, I believe that's her name, the younger sister in the movie. I recognized her from Chopping Mall, which I reviewed earlier. If you have not seen that review, go back and watch it after this one. Another good classic 80s cheesy B movie for teenagers. Yeah, and this movie, if you're just a fan of 80s movies, like the whole aesthetic of it, this movie's for you because you have Valley Girls. One of them's even a cheerleader. There's a radio station that is quintessentially 80s cool, the way it's designed and decorated. It's so 80s and so well done aesthetically. There is a mall shopping montage. They even managed to work that in, which is like quintessential 80s movie cliche to have. There are, there's casual racism that was acceptable at the time with like some microaggressions. Like, I couldn't help but notice that while I was watching. I was like, yeah, we wouldn't let that happen now, but 84 is totally different. So yeah, like overall, this is just a really good movie for, I think, because I was trying to think, like, who would this movie be for? Because I don't think kids now would want to watch it because it's so dated. And there's practically, this is to me more of an action movie than it was a horror. So because of that, and then when you look at it from an action standpoint, it's not that good of an action movie because there's not any explosions and stuff like that, and that people think of when they think summertime action movies. So then I was like, I guess this would be for 80s kids, despite them at this point being like, in their 40s, because I honestly don't know who would now in this like day and age in the 2020s who would watch this without being in that demographic and enjoy it and find it entertaining, because I didn't, which I'm really sorry for the subscriber that suggested this. There was, like I said, some redeeming points. There was some good humor in it that I did laugh at a few times. The aesthetics of it, the music was good. Like I said, I really enjoyed some of the shots that were taken. Otherwise, this movie was just not for me. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to give this one a 1.5. Again, I can see how some people enjoy this and why it's has some cult cult status around it, but I would not watch this again, nor would I suggest it to anyone. Sorry. But I will be watching more movies that are from the iceberg I did. If you haven't watched my iceberg video, check that out. It is a video with 5 different levels going over, from least scary, which this movie is on, number 1 in the level, to how is this even available to watch. And all these movies are available online, ad-free, commercial-free, completely free here on YouTube. So yeah, go back and watch my iceberg. I will be reviewing 2 movies from each level of the iceberg, from the top to the bottom this summer, as well as some other things. So definitely stick around. I do apologize for being gone for as long as I was. I was just working on some personal projects, but I'm back. I'm going to be doing reviews, going to be doing some more, video finds for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, stick around, support the channel. Please like, comment, subscribe, give a follow on Instagram. We greatly appreciate that. And share with friends. And until next time, sleep tight.